Sometimes life lets you down and you feel that you are done. You just want a morning run because the fun is all gone. But sometimes life makes you proud when you look far and wide, when you leave the pain behind and see the brighter side. TNC gives you inspiration. TNC reignites your passion.
The new channel. The new channel. The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello there and welcome to the new channel. We are here to help you see the new you. My name is Lloyd Luna and this is The Big Picture. Good morning, the United States of America. Good evening, Philippines. Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, wherever you're watching from around the world, good evening to you all. Ramon Mendoza is watching along with Francis Magdaong. Si Bing Domingo is nandito rin. Saka si Zenaida Cortaz. Good evening to you all. If you're watching our live stream show tonight, please do share our live stream link. You can also organize your own watch party. Share the same link to your Facebook groups, chat groups, whatever groups you have in there. Hello, Michelle. Michelle is watching. Michelle Moraz is watching. Thank you for getting in our show last night, Michelle. We had a very, very inspirational episode. Of course, we're watching from Colorado. Inspiration overload po kagabi dito po sa ating show. So good morning to you all. Again, if you're watching, please also, I'm encouraging you to write some comments. Write your questions on our comment stream down below. Pwede niyo pong isulat yan. You can also watch us on youtube.com/tncnow. And if you are chosen to be our lucky viewer for tonight, TNC, what is it that you can get from us? Watch. All right, that's washable face mask courtesy of Unisol and TNC worth 600 pesos. If you are our lucky viewer for tonight, you can get that item. And if you're living within Metro Manila, delivery is on us. Nothing to pay, just receive the item. All right. So please watch us on youtube.com/TNC now. Hello, Miss Nila Bernardo. Thank you so much for dropping in on our stream. Yep. Michelle says, can never overload on inspiration. Yeah, it's like maybe vitamins. There's an overdose, if that's what you're saying. But yes, it was inspirational. So tonight we are about to get the another load of inspiration with our guest coming from another imported imported second straight night that we have an imported guest in our show. Paul Vincent Artacho says, may raffle din po ba ang step back shirt? You're asking about the shirt? Well, unfortunately, no, because I cannot run out of stock of this shirt because this is what I am wearing every night. So I am sorry. Not for raffle, not for raffle. Maybe some other time, Paul. But again, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, you can still watch our show on youtube.com/TNC now. You can still share and like our stream. Uh, uh, Forward the link to your friends in Facebook, Instagram, Viber. What else do we have? Viber, WhatsApp, uh, Telegram, all social media platforms that you can reach so that your friends, families, and associates can watch the same inspirational show. Now, we are doing this every night, so you cannot. There's everything for everybody. Hello, Lieutenant Colonel Jack Corpus. Thank you so much for your support. I already got the items right here. The items. I'm going to fit these items in a while after the show. But thank you so much for the patches and things like that. Coffee? Comment down below. Lieutenant Colonel Jack Corpus watching from, I don't know, the location is confidential. Rockro, Eugean, or Yugnian Nibla is watching. Paul saying ha 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 lang. More power to the big picture. More power to you too. Hopefully tumaas yung benta mo sa Sun Life na nag-guest ka dito sa show. So it will be an interesting night tonight because our guest is from the Colorados in the United States. He watched yesterday's or yesternight's show just to get a feel on how the interview would be, asking me about the questions and things like that. I said, what questions? What questions? I don't have questions. I will have questions when you are already here in the studio. And that's when I would know what to ask. But we are going to get some perspectives, because the education space has changed a lot. I mean, the shift was so enormous, overwhelming, even to the entire institutions all across the world. So this is not just one school feeling the heat. It's the entire education system around the world. So it will be really interesting, and I really encourage you to stay on our stream for the next 45 minutes or so, because we have something like 10 possibilities of education in the post-pandemic world. 10 possibilities. What are these possibilities? What are possible? We're going to talk about that in a little while. But before I call in our guest for tonight, I would like to invite you to take a look at the headlines with me from the Manila Times, the country's oldest English newspaper. DOJ leads fight versus corruption. Budget bill finally transmitted to Senate. Metro Manila stays under GCQ. Moon holds more water than thought. Scientists. Duterte rules out PhilHealth abolition. COVID vaccine deal should be government to government. Government to help typhoon victims. Bongo. Budget chief empowered to release Bayanihan funds. Senators seek probe of abusive ambassador. Rotarians vow support for anti-polio campaign. Quinta toll, 4 dead, 13 others missing. Ombudsman suspends 44 immigration execs. Duterte hopes for peaceful All Saints Day observance. And BSP sees deeper PH GDP fall. Headlines presented to you by the Manila Times. For more news and information, please go to manilatimes.net or download their application at digitaledition.manilatimes.net. Hello, Mom. Hello, Mom. Again, take two. Hello, Mom. My mom is watching along with my dad, hopefully, from Australia. I hope you're doing well there. Stay healthy. Jodeline Killing is watching. Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. All right, I think we're ready to introduce our guest for tonight, the heavyweight. Heavyweight? I-pressure natin siya. Gandahan natin introduction. Nakakabahan ng konti. Our guest for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, will be talking about a couple of things. I'm going to share with you some stuff that we're going to talk about. The guy inspired by 10 lessons for a post-pandemic world by Fareed Zakaria. Our guest will share his predictions. Hindi pa siya manghuhula, pero mag-predict siya on how this would impact education, and we came up with 10 possibilities of education in the post-pandemic world. So, such as, we're going to talk about online and virtual schooling. What would they be? Automation learning modules, digital literacy, personalization of instruction versus standardization, which we have right now. I think everything is standardized. So, what about personalization? Because back then, it was personalization that was in demand and then became standardization. Like parang yung mass production. Kumbaga dati personalized production and then mass production. Eh mukha ngayon babalik sa personalization or personalized production. Tingnan natin. The 21st skills and career planning. Tingnan natin. Classes that nurture self-management. Ayan! Self-management. Matuto kayo mag-manage ng sarili. And a lot more. Ladies and gentlemen, our show is an independent organizational development consultant, SPED department chair and teacher at Sierra High School, HSD to Colorado Springs in the United States of America. Please help me welcome John Frederick Lauron.
Good evening, Lloyd.
Good evening, Sir John. My name is Lloyd. You're John, and I'm Lloyd.
John Lloyd.
Obviously, this is a night of a celebrity, John Lloyd. Thank you so much for coming to The Big Picture. We are honored and privileged that you are here with us tonight to share your interesting insights about the future of education. In the meantime, I would like to ask you, how have you been since this pandemic broke out?
I'm doing really fine. So here in Colorado, I live here in Colorado Springs, and the reason why I'm taking a day after Michelle's guesting with your show is because we are actually friends. So I enjoyed here. So during this pandemic, suddenly schools were just shut down, and then we were required to do our lessons online. Since I teach special education students, so I end up really trying to do my best to do personalized or individualized instruction, especially I am bound by law to provide all the services for our students with special needs. Specifically, most of my students are students with specific learning disability. So those who can't learn math, they're with me. So so
Yeah.
far, so good. But again, um, this is a first time wherein, in the Philippines, I was very much exposed to social involvement because of the programs we used to handle. But over here, in a first world country setting, I was shocked to see that, cars are, lining up just to, receive help from our school, and our school partnered with Care and Share, and it was heartwarming to experience that in a first world, people are losing their jobs. A lot of our parents would line up in order to just survive. A lot
Mhm.
of them actually lost their jobs, and that's
Yeah.
why we have to, provide those support uh, from
It-
from the
It's
school.
it's already interesting when there is a shift in education because of what happened. I mean, the pandemic. But even more interesting when you say, these are children with special needs.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, dive deep into these things in a little while. In the meantime, can you take us back to your journey? How did you? What came into your mind? You went to the U.S. What happened there? Your journey, basically, to live the dream outside the
Oh,
Philippines.
sure. Yeah. So, just a personal sharing. I'm from Palongpon, Leyte. I grew up with, a very, very poor family, and so all we have is, we have big dreams and ambitions in life, and we know that um, the reality right now is just temporary. And as long as you have big dreams and you know how to, envision where you want to be in the next few years, you can get out of, of poverty, of your current situation if you don't like it right now. And so I really did my very best. I made it to, study at the Philippine Normal University from Leyte. My father was a carpenter. So alam mo naman, pag carpentero, you're in a way disposable. You don't have social security at napakamura ng sweldo. And then my mother was also a teacher. And at the time, lubog kami sa utang. So talagang hirap na hirap kaming lumaki. So we were hard up as a family. And we migrated to Manila because I got a scholarship. And long story
The entire,
short,
the entire family, I mean, the entire family migrated to Manila.
well, initially it's me. And then when I had to sign for a scholarship with the Department of Science and Technology, so my aunt said, that's my mom's name, Elna, you've been suffering from, from that pain or hip pain for a long time. Why don't you just, after Philippine Normal University, drop by to Philippine General Hospital, so you can get what medicine you need, and then have that, because she's experiencing pain, and only to find out after PNU, she was no longer allowed to leave the hospital because her condition was really bad, and the doctor said that if you will leave us, we cannot assure you that things will be okay. So you need to stay here. So she ended up in the emergency room. Long story short, so on my first 2 years as a college student there in Manila, so my mother has to be in the hospital for 2 straight years. And long story short, my father is also, we lost the case, and so in other words, he had to serve his sentence between 4 to 8 years. In other words, experiencing being the breadwinner in the family at age 16. And at the time, my father had to, go back to prison because we were just like working on the Court of Appeals on his case. And I think that's a different story. And then my mother was in the hospital at the time, and I'm being the eldest in the family. I had to do what I have to do in order to survive. And thanks to education, it transformed my life. And thank you for, the Department of Science and Technology, because if not because of that opportunity, I mean, I would not be here.
But
Because right after,
during those years, there was no thinking of going out, working abroad, for
no.
what they normally call the greener pasture.
At that time, no. The dream is you're from the province, you want to go to Manila, and Manila is like, the dream. If you are
Manila
coming
is the
from the
dream, yeah.
province, it's
Manila
like
is the
New York.
dream.
Yeah. So when I was in Manila, I mean, I was really praying so hard. I said, Lord, like, I mean, between 16 to 20 years, I said it was very, very challenging. And so please, like, please, right after graduation, I hope I get a good job. And luckily, unfortunately, and I was really blessed. I was hired by the Ateneo de Manila High School, which I only read in, history books where our great people, our national hero graduated high school. Like you read that in the history book, and then I started going there and be a teacher at the Ateneo. So I mean, that was very unexpected. But again, I considered it as a grace and as a blessing, because again, when I was in Ateneo, like my life was also transformed with my colleagues. I remember on my interview, when I got hired by her name is Ma'am Rids. We call her Ma'am Rids, and she knows that my situation, and she had to help me out look for a place near Ateneo de Manila, because in that area is very congested, and it's expensive area to live. So she had to help me with with my accommodation, and then she had to help me, like, I remember my first few weeks. She said, "Oh, do you have any nice shirts so you can be presentable for your students?" And yan, pinahiram niya ako ng mga polo ng asawa niya. So, pinamana. So that's
It
how
was
I started in the Ateneo. They really
it was
helped
a
me.
it was a classic story.
Yeah.
Going to the
Bang
classroom.
maalaala mo kaya?
Yeah. But how did it feel? I mean, during that, I mean, it's funny when you think about it, recalling it from many years ago. But at the time that you were doing it, at the time you were wearing shirts which were not yours, what was really going on in your mind then? I mean, it's not yours, and how did it
For
feel?
me, at that time, I was really grateful, because these people, I initially did not know them. They trusted me. I'm not Ateneo. Wow, like that's a big name in our country. And me, just a pure public school graduate, coming from the province, my accent pa, my tono, may pagka-Bisaya pa. I mean, I was full of gratitude at the time, and I was so grateful. And for me at the time, it's God working in my life.
But there was no intimidation, parang ganon. I mean,
Oh,
you were never insecure and intimidated by the fact na, I mean, nandun ka. I mean, for sure, wala kang prior experience doon. It was like, kumbaga,
correct,
yun yung the time, yun yung cloud nine mo at the time.
correct. Actually, if you take a look at it, if you have nothing, what is left with you? You. Your self-confidence, your education, your character, your ability to deal with the uncertainties, your ability to work with other people, in order to survive. So, you've got to do what you have to do. Again, at that time, I know it was more of a blessing, and God is working in my life and in our family's life, and I'm sure He sends us people who are in a way uh, a manifestation of His love for us.
So how did the American dream, I don't know if you called it that back then, but how and when did it came in? I mean,
Okay, good
going up,
question.
yeah.
So as in the Ateneo, I thought once you work there, you become rich, because you teach the rich kids. They have nice cars. And, wow, that's the Ateneo. And feel like Still financially, I was struggling. And being the breadwinner of the family, I mean, I would want to provide more for my family. And so that on my, I think, third year of teaching, I started exploring the possibility of, applying for a job here. And then it did not turn out well. I mean, I had several interviews, but I think the time was not right. And then suddenly on my 15th year of teaching, I suddenly got a call from the US, because I forgot that I actually sent my resume to a recruiter, and she said, "Hey, this is Dr. Avenida. Would you like to be interviewed for a position in, at first it was California and then later on Colorado Springs?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So I did an interview. I think it's around 12:30 in the evening there, because that's morning here or around noon time here. And I did an interview with the district, and it's called Harrison School District 2. And then 3 days after, I was given a job offer, and then she said, in 15 days, you need to be here because the children and the kids, they need a teacher. They just survive every day with a substitute teacher. And
And then
so that was
you didn't think twice. It was a yes.
good question. It's not easy decision because again, I was in my 15th year of teaching at the Ateneo, and again, when you start your career in the Ateneo, I mean, it's really financially it may not be rewarding, but throughout the years, once you're there, like you have that sense of stability, and I
Not
think
only that, you only
huh?
get the trophy of the like a sort of a loyalty award for staying 10, 15 years.
Yes. And compensation wise, it was really, I mean, if you are have been teaching there for a long time, and that's how
Mm.
they reward you for being there, your experience, your wisdom. So at that time it was so hard for me to leave, but at the same time I also like acknowledge the fact that it's time for me to grow. So I started getting consulting projects on the side, and good thing, I mean, I was able to work it out with my schedule that during the days, I mean, I have time off, and then weekends, that's when I work as a social involvement coordinator. And so when I experienced consulting, I said, wow, like this is the career I want, to pursue. So I was thinking of really retiring in the Ateneo on my 20th year. So I have 5 more years while slowly building, clientels as an organizational development consultant. And suddenly I got this call on my 15th year. And so that changed everything. So instead of transitioning towards being a consultant, so I end up teaching back again in the classroom, in a different country, in a different school setting, in a different subject. Because in the Philippines, I taught science, and then I transitioned in my 10th year to social involvement. And then when I moved here, I was asked to teach math. And then after 2 years, I had to move to a different school to teach special education. So,
Mm.
I mean, specifically math.
Okay. So, interesting story there, inspirational as well. I don't know if I were you, maybe it was an easy yes to the US. Who
It,
knows,
it,
or maybe
it,
not.
yeah, it's supposedly an easy yes, but again, if you have planned your life,
Yeah,
um, it,
and that,
that will
and,
make it so
and I
difficult.
think the attachment, so to speak, I think
Exactly.
it's something that will really make you think twice, regardless if it's US or Europe or
Yeah.
whichever first world country. Okay, I'm going to pause for a short commercial break, and then when we come back, let's talk about the 10 possibilities of education in the post-pandemic world. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. Stay on our stream. The big picture on TNC will return.
Since I got my new place, I've enjoyed every single day here. Hotel-like amenities, attentive staff, resort-style living, all in a premium location. So life here is easy and convenient. That's why I invested in another unit. I can earn more, and they can enjoy the very same things I enjoy at home. What a life! So much more rewarding. So much more to life. SMDC.
We need beauty every day. We need power every day. But are you ready?
Ready? Ready.
Beauty is power.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Picture on the new channel. Before I call in back my guest again to the studio, let me invite you to watch our other shows, inspirational shows on TNC. The Big Picture with me. Well, I share inspiring stories of notable personalities Mondays through Fridays at 7 p.m. It's our hotline introduces us to the wonderful world of human resources management Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 1 p.m. Have an insightful Saturday afternoon because the family business is everyone's business at 4 p.m. The 4 Project is about business, life, and success stories from Dubai, UAE, 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Philippine time. Usapang kagandahan, kakikayat, kasiyahan, a show that enlightens us to find the beauty in everything. Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. Discover your life purpose and learn from others' turnaround stories by tuning into U-Turn Mondays and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. The Home Buyer is where you hear remarkable stories about building and owning properties Mondays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. YOLO is for all of us to understand that law is fun and equally cool. Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Two leaders in one platform, TNC The Talk, Mondays at 12 noon. After shift, relax and have a booze night while we chat um, about your choices and the life that you live after work. Wednesdays and Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Discover your talent and learn how you can share it with others through Win Within. Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Dream, achieve, nurture, inspire. Tag your kids along and watch Danny Art Show Fridays at 5:30 p.m. The world has faced an unprecedented pandemic. Time to hear positive testimonies straight from those who recovered from the disease. COVID stories Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. Global issues, common interest. Learn together across borders. Foreign affairs streams Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m. Watch and learn about money and more. Streams live from the Philippines and the US Tuesdays and at 8:30 p.m. Philippine time and 5:30 a.m. California, USA. Because health is wealth, Healthline on Wednesdays and Fridays at 4 p.m. Educate, encourage, empower, elevate women in different industries. Women at Work on Saturdays at 9 a.m. Start your day right, spell it and make it sure to be an awesome day every day. Mondays at 2:30 p.m. In the world where everything is turning digital, cyber next. Wednesdays at 12 noon. Understand the emerging technologies that shape our future today. Tech evangelist Marvin Salazar on Tech U on Fridays at 2:30 p.m. Now, catch also our TNC original shows such as One Day, an inspiring 30-minute storytelling. It alternates with TNC Town Hall, co-hosted by TNC founders yours truly and Apple. This show is where we talk to you, our valued audience, about our shows on TNC, more upcoming TNC shows that will truly, truly inspire you. Please follow our channel on Facebook and YouTube and hashtag let us help you. Dun pa lang pala. Hashtag see the new you. All right. Now that I'm done with this long skit, maybe I should pause for another commercial. No. Let's welcome back John Frederick Lauron, streaming live from the Colorado in the US. Welcome back, sir, to the show. Appreciate your staying. I hope you didn't sleep as I was reading those script. Crazy. Okay, now it's interesting your transition and transformation from the suburbs of Leyte to the United States, becoming a department head, the schools there. Let's talk about the 10 possibilities that you're seeing
Mhm.
in the education sector. Many have changed. We felt it. I became my wife and I became a sort of a part-time teacher now, and I wonder how come that we don't get salary for doing that. I mean, we should be getting half of the teacher's salary, right? We are sharing the job of teaching, so I thought maybe half of the salary should be distributed to parents now that they are teaching their children inside their houses. Tell us something about the possibilities, sir. Let's run through it one by one.
Sure. So maybe just a context. So again, this is not something that just came out of out of nowhere. So again, so one of my areas where I studied is in international studies at Miriam College, and then I follow him, Fareed Zakaria. So I read his, analysis. I mean, some scholars would say that he is very journalistic style of writing, but again, for me, it doesn't really matter because being a journalist, like he's able to, be right there in the front and be able to like be exposed to what's going on in the world, and he gets to interview these, our leaders, I mean, celebrities or great, like, world leaders. So anyway, so after, like, I was reading this book, and then I'm also enrolled in a course with the University of Northern Colorado, and we talk about the implication of this pandemic to education. So maybe I'll go over with the first one. So, in the past, there was this tendency for us, especially, I don't know, I mean, here in the US, I'm not so sure, but I think to some extent, we used to frown at institutions that offer, online school, homeschool, or like distance education, because we thought that, standard wise it's not as good as the traditional brick and mortar schools. And so, but with the pandemic, even the traditional schools, the big universities, they had to, transition to online. And then if you're so used with the traditional way of teaching, we realize that it's even much harder to actually prepare an online class. I mean, to set it up is a lot of work. But again, the good thing is once you have set it up, everything will be, easy later on. So setting up is really very challenging. So my first prediction is that online and virtual schooling will become, in a way, highly acceptable and maybe respected later on, in the norm, and then it becomes a norm.
Do you see
So
this as a do you see this mixed model in the future? Because when we go back to traditional schooling, do you see that maybe the physical classes would only take 3 times a week, and the remaining 2 days would be online or
yeah,
virtual?
yes, definitely. So it looks like, again, this is in a way the direction that we're heading as a global society. But then because of the pandemic, it accelerated a million times in terms of like transitioning to this. And in
Mm.
fact, a lot of us are not ready for this. So
Okay.
oh, sorry.
Automation of learning modules pave way to artificial intelligence in education now. And artificial intelligence in education now, that part, the AI or artificial intelligence, I don't know how it is now in the Philippines, but I think we are going there nonetheless. So
Yeah.
let's talk about this automation of learning modules.
Sure. So since I teach special education, so we're so good at looking for what's a good program for kids with special needs. So one program we're using right now, it's called Alex. Again, I'm not like promoting Alex, but again, this is called Alex program. This was introduced to me by my friend who also teaches in an alternative school, and she said, "Oh, I love it." I mean, the way it operates is a student will take an initial assessment, and then in itself, the program will guide the student on how to use the program at the start. And then once the student is done with the assessment, after that, so this is a math program. And then after they take the test, it will automatically give them a specific lesson to bridge the gap. So, for example, their high school, say it can really assess, let's say, if you are currently at the fourth grade level, so it will provide them with lessons and activities at the fourth grade level. And then they keep like answering questions until they complete
Will, will,
a specific topic, and then they move on to the next skill. So uh,
will it be personal to each student?
yes, so every student will have different lesson, and it's
Wow.
automated. So that's why I
That's
call it
amazing.
artificial intelligence in education. And then that's for math. For
Yeah.
reading, we already have this what we call as Achieve 3000. We're using it in our school. And kids, again, they take an assessment, and then every day they get like an article to read, and
Wow.
then there are 8 questions. And here's the good thing. Like if you're reading at the second grade level, if you're reading at a 10th grade level, if you're reading at a 12th grade level, you're reading the same article, but the lexile level, meaning the reading, like how heavy the text is, will be adjusted according to your Lexile level.
Wow. And
And
then and they don't have to do anything about it because it's AI, so it's basically
yeah,
run.
yep. So it will assess them like at a certain period, like after a month, it's either their Lexile level goes up or goes down. I mean, it depends on the student
Yeah.
who is really working hard to get
Woo.
their reading ability improved. So
Uh,
I see that as the
I'm excited.
future.
I'm excited and afraid. More excited, but more excited, of course. Now, the digital literacy. What does it mean? Does
Yeah.
literacy
What's
and
really funny is here, I mean, you thought it's the United States of America. I have kids who actually don't know how to email. Like yesterday, I was helping the
oh,
student. I said, Mister, you said that I need to email my teacher after I'm done with the work so they can track my grade. I said, yes. I don't know how to do that. I said, what? I said, and then I realized as a teacher, oh my goodness, like I need the first, maybe this is the super basic skill to teach them at the very least, how to do an email, how to communicate properly to their
mm,
teachers. And
yeah,
digital citizenship is basically being responsible with technology, being responsible when they are in the digital world. Because
yeah.
again,
It's
I
like
mean, we know for a
it's like
fact that
it's like if reading is a basic skill as well as writing, maybe composing an email and sending it
correct.
is in the
It's
same level. Should be in the
it's in
same
the
level.
same level now. Yep.
Yeah. The personalization of instruction, are you referring to the materials and the medium and the method
Correct.
versus the
Yes.
standardization of it? Because we all know that today it's one school, everything, all materials basically all the same. Now we have experienced that here in the Philippines already because each division they are having their own set of modular materials to be distributed in their division.
Hmm.
So it's not the typical central office and then
Yeah.
all schools.
So when I say personalization of instruction, I mean if you want to deliver results, be a school that will personalize instruction. Because right now we can really say that, let's say if you like treat them like as one like standard, so all of you have to be this. But then again, we're seeing a lot of gap in reading, in math. Some kids are at a high school level, but their math literacy is maybe at the third or a fourth grade level, or maybe at the seventh grade level. And so, therefore, if you don't personalize instruction, I mean, all the more that you will experience gap, and then these students will be excluded in the process because their frustration level will go up, and because they're so frustrated with schools. And then now I hear some kids. I mean, not at this time, but when I started here, I could not fathom the idea that kids don't like to be in school. I mean, because in the Philippines, I know that school is a place where I build my dreams. It's a place where I dream big for myself, for my family, for my country, for the world, and make a difference. I mean, here I started like hearing stories from students who would say, I mean, I don't like school. I don't want to be
Wow.
here. I mean,
It's an ironic situation there. Now,
yeah, and then after so many years, I realized it's simply because they have a learning gap that's not being addressed, and
oh,
the standardization, and because of this, like expectation that at this grade level you should do this, and you
yeah.
don't personalize instruction, frustration level goes up, behavior becomes, not desirable, and so they end up being frustrated with school. Teachers become frustrated, and so it will end up having a high turnover of teachers
Mm.
because they can't survive with how
It's
they're
just
treated by students.
because an avalanche of issues from there. Now,
Yes,
the guidance counseling offices, the guidance counselors, they normally are tasked to do the career
correct.
orientation and career stuff.
Hmm.
Career planning, the 21st century skill. You're saying that this is a class that should be taken by every student. Why
Yes.
is it so?
So when you go to traditional career planning, workshops, I mean, what careers do you like? Like you are you exposed there? Maybe teaching, lawyer, doctor, traditional employment approach. But again, if we see right now, I mean, like you, I mean, a lot of people have been successful if they only have their camera, they have their internet, and they're very successful. The entrepreneurial aspect, in the 21st century, as long as you have the entrepreneurial mindset, if you have a camera, if you know how to, if you have digital literacy, you can be a blogger, you can be a vlogger, you can be a digital marketer, you can be whatever you want right now, a
Mhm.
YouTuber, and get paid for doing that. I
Who's
mean, I
gonna
met a lot of
who's
people
gonna
who
teach
travel.
who's
Uh,
gonna teach these career planning courses or classes, by the way? You have an idea?
that's yeah, that's very interesting because um, traditionally, like schools are not, we don't like
Yeah.
these
No one is
careers.
offering that. Yeah.
No one is offering this,
No.
and I mean, I'm proud to say that our district is giving us the opportunity to actually propose specific classes, and so um, yeah, I just submitted this proposal to my principal, and she will forward it to the district, and we will offer this as a class hopefully in next school year,
Wow.
21st century skills and career planning. And the way we teach this is, as a teacher, I'm not necessarily the expert because I'm not the practitioner. I'm the facilitator of learning. So
Yeah,
as the teacher, I will
good
contact people
good
who
thing
are
you cleared
working.
that the good thing you cleared that out, because it's really difficult to listen to teachers talking about
Correct. Yeah.
the practices without the teacher really having the experience. Now, self-management in this day and time, really, it's almost a must. Whether you are already working or even if you are still in school, tell us something about this.
Yeah, definitely self management is. I mean, I see it in my work. You know, I mean, if you want to be micromanaged, then be not responsible, and nobody likes to be micromanaged. Now, I think right now the students self management, because I also teach night school. Those students are at risk of graduating, of not graduating on time. So from 4 to 7 o'clock in the evening, after they go attend a night day school, or some of them are working, they come to night school from between 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock to be on their computer, work on their own at their own pace. They finish a class. Let's say if they are so good at finishing a class, they can finish a semester worth of class in maybe in 1 week, and then they move on to the next class. Let's say if they're done with English 1, they move on to English 1 semester B semester, and then they move on to English 2 semester A, and so on. So I see that a lot of my students are successful in night school. They're working not really full time, but most of their time throughout the days they're working, and then in the evening they're trying to
Wow,
finish their high school.
that's
It's
interesting.
and
That's
I
interesting.
see
It's
them to be more successful actually than those students who are in the traditional setting.
Yeah,
Because
maybe also because there's a sort of an ownership of on what they are doing, right? I mean,
yes,
I'm learning in my own pace. No one should be dictating me on how I'm going to go about this. That's interesting. Now, teachers turning to online courses. Tell us something
right,
about this. This is number 7.
yes. It's funny because during the pandemic, I saw this advertisement from the UK. There's this person who's going to teach you to be an online tutor, and ended up, well, I paid for that. I mean, you pay a certain amount, and then he will teach you how to be effective in an online platform. And I see a lot of like I mean, not really teachers, but entrepreneur teachers who actually converted their lessons into an online platform, and then they sell their courses. So again, as a teacher career, in terms of career advancement, I mean, I can be a teacher in a traditional school, but at the same time, if I'm able to convert my material, as long as you follow the law, there's no intellectual property issues. If you develop a course and you can convert it into an online platform, you can start offering mini courses. And right now, we notice that a lot of people are actually investing in courses that will directly impact their economic life. So if I want to learn blogging, then there are blogging gurus
Yeah,
right now. There are
exactly. I
practitioners
mean,
and being a teacher.
exactly. I mean, why else would you take some other classes that are really not in sync with what it
Correct.
is that you really want to do? Wow, interesting. And that's for teachers. Now, the standardized examination. Now, this is interesting. I don't know if this is a good news or bad news, but no more standardized examination.
So again, this can be really political, but again, I mean, the way I look at it, I mean,
No more. Sorry,
why do
sorry,
we
Jack.
standardize?
The,
Why
the
do we
bad news is
standardize tests?
the bad news is no more copying.
Yeah, why do we standardize tests? Again, simply because there are institutions whose business actually prosper because of this, standardization of
Ah,
education.
and also
Now,
for the ease of doing it. I mean, why would you personalize an exam if you're a teacher? I mean, the traditional one. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm just trying to think aloud. If I were the teacher, why would I get? Why would I give them a sort of a 40 set of exam if I can give one and then key to correction and then check the
yes,
exam papers, right?
but actually, what is more valuable in the 21st century is the performance assessment, the authentic assessment, the assessment wherein I am able to produce something out of my education. And so I think I'm seeing slowly that institutions like the Colorado Department of Education has recognized the fact that some kids are not into, SAT testing. So if you're not scoring really well in an SAT, then you can go through like a service learning approach, or you come up with a project and then you
Mhm.
present your project to a group of
Yeah.
crediting body that will certify that you have the education that you need in order to survive in the real world after high
That's,
school.
uh, that's the closest it can be to real life. I think it's very good. Now we are pressed by time, but we have two more: the social emotional learning, as well as flexibility, innovation, problem solving, adaptability. I mean, the new set of skills. Let's talk about the social emotional learning and mindfulness and how it can be integrated to the curriculum.
Very good. So we know that kids are faced with so many challenges right now. I mean, and it may accelerate further. And so because of these changes, because of this, you don't know the future, and then because of this digitalization of everything, it creates a lot of stress. I mean, we know for a fact that it's already a mental health issue or a mental health problem when a student is so addicted with I mean, actually even us adults. And so therefore we need to strike the balance between digital exposure to staying away from the digital by being aware of your thoughts, by simply inhaling, exhaling, and be aware of, be grateful for the fact that you are able to still breathe without the aid of a technology, being grateful about life
Mhm.
as it is right now.
Mhm.
So
And
how do we
that,
integrate this? I'm seeing that in the past most public schools are so focused on the academics, and now we're slowly recognizing that for you to be successful in academics, you need to in a way recognize the fact that these students are human beings. They have feelings. They're social beings, and so therefore the more they're accepted in a society or in a let's say in a
Mhm.
school setting, the more that they will participate. And the reason why I can say that is because, for example, like again, I came to Ateneo as an outsider because I'm not an Ateneo graduate. I'm not, from their social class. I mean, a lot of kids there actually are in the higher social class, middle class to maybe upper class. Um, and I noticed the reason why people are so loyal to their institution is because the moment they come to the Ateneo, we have like a freshman orientation that's very welcoming. They make sure that there is somebody who is watching this peer, or they have those structures that will ensure that you are welcome in Ateneo, that you feel good about yourself in the institution while you're there, you feel safe, and somebody takes cares for you. So,
Mhm.
and that is social emotional learning. And of course in the Ateneo we do retreats, we do class nights, we do so many activities that are non-academic that will promote and enhance community building.
Okay, the last part is flexibility. How do you feel like integrating it to the school system?
Yes, so I think, I mean, I put this as the last because, again, this is very essential, but it's very challenging. How do we teach flexibility in our schools right
Yeah, I
now?
mean this new set of skills like
Yes,
creativity and things like that. I mean, there's no
yes,
particular course for being creative, right?
yes. So maybe from from a being so crazy about the rubric. So this is the rubric. This is, you follow within the box. Now, maybe, I mean, if I want to prepare my students in the future, in their future life, they will be given a challenge or a task wherein there's no specific, like, this is the box. You define, like, be innovative as you can, but this is what I want to see at the end. So coming up, let's say, for instance, okay, I mean, if we are going to offer the 21st century skills and career planning, so I will group them into, like, their group of interest. Okay, so if you're a high school and if you want to start experiencing how to be a blogger, project-based learning, actually. So people, I mean, these kids will group together and then they come up and maintain a blog. And then, of course, it's not just an ordinary, blog. There must be a purpose for that. And so, again, along the way, they need to be flexible because, for example, they post their, first whatever blog is that, and then, there are stats right away, and so flexibility, therefore, is an essential skill. And the
Mm.
way we do this is through project-based learning.
Okay,
So
good.
if you have
Last
heard,
commercial break, and then when we come back, I'm going to post the last question I normally ask my guest. Please don't go away. The big picture on TNC will return. All right, welcome back. You're still watching The Big Picture on the new channel. Let's call in back our guest again for tonight from Colorado, US, John Frederick Lauron. John and Lloyd. Sir, final question before I let you go. What's the big picture in all of this?
so welcome to the world of uncertainty, wherein flexibility, empathy, and leadership and entrepreneurship will be the key skills in order to survive or thrive.
Okay, very good. Where do they get in touch with you if you have some social media website to promote? Where do they get in touch with you?
Uh, Good question. So I have my Facebook page, And then I don't want to maintain two Facebook. I'm almost like max in my friends on Facebook, my personal Facebook account. So they're more than welcome to join me in Instagram, uh, hashtag Viajerong Juan. So if you want to just, search Viajerong Juan, because I love to travel. And that's why I think that's also the reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because I met a lot of Caucasians in the Philippines or in Asia or Southeast Asia, and they're there to teach and travel within the Southeast Asia area while teaching English. So that's my inspiration too.
All right. Sure. Thank you so much, Sir John, for your time. Really appreciate you having or being here in the show. Learned a lot from our discussion. It will be interesting if they're going to watch the replay and really go through the 10 possibilities for our education sector, whether they are students, parents, or teachers. Or
Yes. And I think, the nice thing with being a teacher is you have so many breaks. So I'm thinking of maybe coming up with a book, just elaborating all of this. So just stay tuned, and I will contact you whenever I need to launch it. I'm thinking of doing that over the Thanksgiving break. So
Okay. Thank you so much, Sir John Frederick Lauron. All right. The big picture would like to thank Puzzle Box BPO Inc., also sponsored by SMDC, Unisol, Lularan, Telepreneur, Reway Placenta. Siyempre, nandito rin Wonder Molecule natin, Mr. Rice Aliaga Rice Supply. Maraming salamat din po. Thank you so much, PAPS, PALP, Creative Voices. Step Back Leadership for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, again, watch us on replay, youtube.com/TNC Now, as well as on this page, facebook.com/TNC Now. I'm going to see you again tomorrow for another inspiring episode of The Big Picture. In the meantime, my name is Lloyd Luna. Thank you so much for watching The Big Picture. Always see us here on TNC, the new channel. Good night, and thank you.